What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, we're going to have another Walking Dead discussion, and we're going to talk about Negan and how his journey and who he's become as a character in the apocalypse mirrors Rick and his journey and who he's become. Now, when I say mirror, of course, I don't mean an exact copy. I mean that it's a flip side. So, Negan is basically the other side of the Rick coin. This discussion has come up many times. Robert Kirkman has even said as much that, this is that Negan is who Rick could have become if he made different choices. Maybe things happened a little differently, or Rick didn't have the same people around him like Carl or Glenn, for instance. Okay? All right. So now what got me thinking about this was I was thinking about season 8 and my prediction video, which I'm going to do soon. That'll be up probably today. And how they're going to most likely have a Negan flashback episode this season, similar to our Morgan flashback episode. So I started thinking about the Here's Negan comic and how they would adapt that, or, what changes they would make or whatever. And then it got me thinking to Rick's journey. So I started seeing similarities. So we're going to talk about, yes, we're talking about Here's Negan, which is from the comics, but I think they're going to adapt it pretty closely on the show, whenever they do, even if they don't do it in season 8, and maybe they do it in season 9. But whenever they do it, I think they'll adapt it pretty closely. So we're going to talk about that, which is, I know it's from the comics, but we're going to talk about TV Rick, because I'm more obsessed with the TV show than I am with the comic, even though I love them both almost equally for different reasons. But the show, it's just live people, so I have a stronger connection to the show than I do with the books. Okay, so starting at the beginning, okay, we have Rick in his car talking to Shane, about women, and we kind of get a sense of who each character is from that conversation. We kind of get a sense that Rick is the good guy, the better man, and Shane is more of the bad guy, the bad boy, the one that, is more likely to go to the dark side, right? And now in Negan's story, we don't get him with a buddy, but we do get him with his class, and all that. And we see that he's a dick. He's an asshole. He's the opposite of Rick. We basically see that he's more similar to Shane than he is to Rick, right? So, all right. So then we get that. Then we get Rick gets shot and ends up in a coma in the hospital. And then on the Negan side, he's talking to his wife, and she passes out, ends up having cancer. She's in the hospital, right? So now both characters are in the hospital, but in different circumstances. Rick is in a coma in the bed, and Negan is probably spending a good amount of time there, but sitting beside the bed, right? Okay, and then we get the outbreak occurs, and Rick wakes up and goes looking for his family. And Negan can't even put his wife out of her misery and stop her from turning and all that. He has to make somebody else go and do it. Okay? So now Rick goes out to do and find and accomplish something, whereas Negan sends somebody else to do it. And that just goes to show the character, right? And then, Rick goes out and so forth, and he finds his family, which is something that Negan doesn't do. Everyone that Negan finds is somebody that dies, somebody that can't protect themselves, and Negan can't protect, obviously. So now Rick finds not only his family, but another group of survivors, another group of good people, right, that he can bond with, that he connect with. Negan doesn't find that. Everyone he finds dies. So there we go again, the opposites, right? And then if you look at it, right, Shane covets Rick's wife. Okay, Rick is the guy with the lady, whatever. Then when Negan finds Dwight, Negan covets Dwight's wife. So now you see more similarities between Negan and Shane, but that also puts him at the opposite of Rick, right? As the type of guy Rick is. So essentially, Negan is what would have happened if Shane lived, right? I'm going to elaborate on that a little in a minute. And then, so then we have this where now Negan finds people and becomes part of them, but by force more than anything else. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that's where we're left at on the Here's Negan comic. I know that I think there's going to be a couple more issues, and I guarantee you that in those issues we're going to see more parallels. We're going to see how he gets the sanctuary and his people, and I guarantee you it's not going to be like Rick. Rick comes into Alexandria and tries to integrate him and his people, amongst Alexandria, where I guarantee you Negan is going to get to the sanctuary and he's going to take it by force. And this is going to be the interesting dynamic. Rick is learning how to deal with the world, with people, having other good people, with helping people and teaching people, right? That's how Rick's group works. They teach each other, they learn from each other, they soak up all the information from each other, and it makes them better individuals because they do that. But now Negan is different. He's basically like, well, if you can't survive, you're worthless to me. And this is the total opposite of Rick. This is how I feel Shane was. Because if you look at Shane's outlook on things, that's what he was basically telling Rick, is that you're weak because you want to be the superhero. You want to do the right thing. You want to save everyone, and you're going to get your people, our people, killed by doing it that way. And that's Negan's outlook. Shane's outlook is Negan's outlook, where if you see it in the book, where he's basically like, or everyone I've come across dies. They're all worthless. They're all weak. They couldn't take care of themselves. It's not my fault. It's not my job to save them. That's Negan's outlook, which is very similar to Shane's, right? So, like I said, I guarantee you that when we see the Here's Negan play out, and I hope we get it in a flashback episode, a full 90-minute episode like they did for Morgan on the show. I would love it in season 8. It would be great if it was episode 4, right? And I really think that's how it's going to play out, right? So you're going to see that parallel even more. And I think that might be where it stops, with them getting the sanctuary, but we might not. We might get a step further and see maybe the first couple of communities that Negan has dealt with, and to show that parallel, because look how Rick has dealt with it at the first communities he's met. He's tried to work out a deal and tried to become friends and tried to live in a community and communicate with these people, right, and be civil. And I think we're going to see the opposite with Negan, where he's just going to basically go in and say, look, I'll help you, but you got to gimme. You got to gimme. And then I think it's going to evolve to the point where it's like, no, you're going to gimme or I'm going to kill you. And I think that's where we're going. That's where we're headed with the rest of Here's Negan. And that totally parallels Rick. And it makes sense to me that the big question that I hear a lot of people ask, and I've had conversations, multiple, about this. I've even seen multiple videos about this on YouTube. And that's what would have happened if Shane lived. Well, here's your answer, folks. Negan. That's what would have happened if Shane lived, or if Shane took over the group. We would have got something similar to Negan. I'm not going to say exact, but we would have definitely gotten something similar to Negan. 100%. Nobody will be able to change my mind on that. So to answer all your question that you've been asking for years, since season 2 or 3, what would happen if Shane didn't die, or if Shane killed Rick? What would have happened then? And this is your answer. Negan is what would have happened. Yep. I love this. These are my favorite types of videos. Not necessarily the reviews or whatever. It's the predictions, it's the discussions, it's the theories, it's breaking things down and really trying to get to the meat of what things may mean, or what we would like them to mean at the very least. Alright, so that's it for this video. Sound off down below. Let me know what you think about my theory on how Negan's story mirrors Rick's story. It's almost the exact opposite, but similar. It's the same, but it's different, you know? And how I think that Negan would definitely be Shane. I don't know what to title this video. Do I title it Negan mirroring Rick? Or do I title it Negan is what would have happened if Shane lived? Shane would have became Negan. I don't know. You let me know. Sound off down below. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about my videos. This one in particular. I definitely want to hear your opinions on this theory, on what you think about it, or you know, if you have a different theory that goes along these lines. Let me know. I'm definitely interested. Yep. So that's it for this vid. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day, and yeah, I will see you next time.